Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm the Reclusive Crafter. My name's Dawn. Today I am going to show you the first part of the second project that I'm doing for Scrimping Mummy, using one of her digitals, which if you saw my last video intro in the digitals that I'm going to use, it's the Asian Splendour. So this is the first part of the journey. So I've come up with this, which is a 3-part folio again. You open up the first page and you've got a little tuck pocket here. You've got a little vellum pocket here, which behind there is the beautiful heron. And then if you open it up here, you've got a magnetic clasp there. And in here is where the journal bit is going to go. And then if you're with me to the next video, we're going to have some more bits and pieces put in here, but I'm saving that for the next video. So if you want to see what's happening with it and how it's all going to be completed, you will need to follow me on my next video. But in the meantime, stay with me now and I'll show you how to put all of this together. Okay, we're going to make a start on putting things together. There's 3 bits to the base section, so there's base 1, 2 and 3. On base 1, the height is 8 9/16 of an inch, the width is 11 inches and 1/16, and then you score at 3 3/4 on one side, and you score at 1/2 inch and 1 1/8 of an inch on the other side of that one. I will be putting all these measurements in the description, so if you don't catch them, that they will all be in the description for you. On base part 2, the height will be 8 9/16 of an inch, the width will be 7 7/16 of an inch, and the scoring on this one is just down the one side, and it's 1/2 inch and 1 1/4 inches. And then base part 3, the height is 8 9/16 of an inch and the width is 6 3/16 of an inch, and there's no scoring on that one. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is to mitre the edges. So I'm just going to mitre these little corner bits here on that one and on this one. So you only mitre the corners on the scored pages. 1 and 2, and then to fold along the scores that doesn't look very straight, does it? Let's just straighten that up a bit. There we go, that's better. Let's get my folder in there. Lovely. I've noticed actually that score has just gone through there, so when I put some paper on, that will repair that. And then we're going to score there and fold on that score there. Okay, so I'm just going to glue this bit down. I've actually written the things on the wrong side there, but never mind. They'll all be in the description, so you'll be able to follow along. And when you're putting these together, don't go right over the fold line, just bring the card up to the fold line. You can use double-sided tape if you want to. I tend to use glue purely because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room to ensure that I actually get things nice and straight. Okay, so that now comes up like that, and that's that one in place. And now along this one here, excuse me for going quiet, I'm concentrating as usual. Right, and then this one, going to bring that one over here, and again not right over the line. Oh, got the jitters. not right over the score line, just up to it. And again, if you're using glue as opposed to tape, it does help you to have that little bit of wiggle room to make sure that you get the lining up right. Okay, so there we go. So now we've got this one that folds over here like this, and we've got that one that folds over there like that. Okay, to strengthen the spines, I'm going to put on some of this fabric tape, just to give those spines a little bit more strength. I'm just going to cut those, and this is double-sided, so it will give these spines a little bit more strength, and it'll also cover over, there was one of them that, I can't remember where it was, there was one of them that was a little bit there. So what it will do, it'll strengthen that little bit there where the score actually went through. I'm going to strengthen those up by putting some material tape over them, and then pop that down there. So that's that one down, and that's now repaired that. And then I'm going to do the same on this spine here, and that's now given us two spines that will hopefully, or should, stand the test of time with the folding and closing, opening and closing of your folio. I'm just going to crease this one down as well, just to make sure we get a good closure on it. Make sure it's stuck down properly. And then this one, I'm just going to fold this one over like so. And that's given me a good crease on that spine too. Okay, so there we go. That's the spines, just given a little bit more stability and rigidity. And it's also obviously mended the small tear that happened while I was scoring. I'm going to be putting a window in here. And I'm going to allow, we're doing 1/2 inch, guys, not 1/4 inch. Got 1/4 inch on the brain. So 1/2 inch there and 1/2 inch there. That's actually in the right place. That looks like it's too high there. No, that's right. We're just going to draw that line across there. Just lightly, just make sure I'm 1/2 inch in. We are. And then we're just going to join that up. Okay, so that's going to be my window. I'm going to cut that out now. There we go. And that's got that out of there. So that will be the window. So that'll come across there like so. And then when you open it up, you'll have a little pocket there with a window in it. I've decided to go with, this is actually tracing paper. I've got loads and loads of it, but it's very similar to vellum, and it will give a nice opaque window as opposed to a clear window. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue around the aperture of the window. Like so, and I'm going to go around the, oh, I can't see that one there. I'm going to go around the edge of the tracing paper. like so. I'm just going to pop the lid on my glue because I keep forgetting to do that and it keeps getting gummed up. And then I'm going to pop this on here. And then that should give me a nice little window. Just going to get a little bit of tissue. I just want to make sure I've got a good contact on that. Oops. There we go. Okay, so I'm happy with that. What we now need to do is decide what design we want to be displayed behind that window. I have decided on the heron. If I just very quickly place him there, hopefully you can see there that he actually makes beautiful little insert there, which I think is absolutely fabulous. So that's what we're going to go with for the insert, or for the backing. So I am going to glue this down, and I'm going to use 2 glues to do this because I want some wiggle room. I'm going to use, if I can find it, there we go. I'm going to use my Yoo-hoo just as the backing. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of Yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo! And pop that on there. And then to make sure we get a really good seal around the edges, I'm going to go just around the edges and a little bit across the centre, just with some art glitter glue, so that we get a nice seal around the edges. And I've got something there which I don't particularly want under there. Just pop that along there, and pop that down there. And just give a little scribble-roonio all over, a little bit more down there. And now I'm going to pop this into place. And I just want to make sure top and bottom were about right, but I also want to make sure, and this is what I'll glue everywhere, yay. I just want to make sure that the positioning is right. And I just want to, if I can, just edge him over a little bit. There we go. And if I can just get him up a little bit there. Just not quite where I wanted him. I'm just going to reposition slightly, and this is why it's good to have both glues, because it gives you, the art glitter glue sets really quickly, but with the Yoo-hoo it gives you that little bit more time to be able to play with your positioning. I just want to make sure that I've got all that loose glue off. And now he'll come over, and that's perfect positioning. I'm happy with that. And now, I'm going to glue the pocket in place. Now this is going to be interesting because the extra material tape that I've used is actually causing this to not want to fold over slightly. So I'm going to grab a couple of bulldog clips, or a few bulldog clips, that will hopefully hold this in place while it takes. And it shouldn't really take too long to take, but I want to be sure that it holds firmly. So I'm going to pop a bulldog clip on the end there, like wonder if I can get a couple there, because I really want that to be a good seal. And I can't see what I'm doing, so I apologise if my head's in the way, peeps. Let's pop that there. Let's pop that there. That one you can just see is lifting there, so I'm just going to hold those there, just while that hopefully dries enough to be able to hold that in place. Good old squash. And then while we're waiting for that to dry, I'm going to put some ribbons in place. So we want, where's my pencil? There we go. We want a ribbon here, and we also want a ribbon here. So I'm going to measure about midway, which will be 8.5. So 8.5, so that's 4 1/4. So the ribbon wants to go about there, and I'd like to give it a good 2.5 inches in. So I'm going to take the ribbon in. I need to remember I'm going on that bit there. I'm going to take the ribbon in probably, I wonder if 2 inches would give enough, or maybe 2.5 might be better. So I'm going to take the ribbon, I think, to about there. So that's going to be my ribbon line there. And then I'm going to do the same here, 4 1/4, which takes it to there. And again, I want to have a good ribbon line. Try using the inch side Dawn, it might be helpful. And 3 inches takes it to about there. Now it might be a bit too much, to be fair. Just going to look and see how much that's going to give me. And that should be enough, actually. So okay, so I'm going to use a bit of double-sided tape and a little bit of glue on here, just to make sure that we get a good take on it. Oh, this is really sticky. Where's my little scissors? There they are. And then I'm just going to cut that there. That's that one. And then this one I'm going to pop there. Oh, that's really straight, isn't it? Goodness me. And just pop it there. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to pop a little bit of wet glue on there as well, just to give it a little bit of extra purchase. Just looking for my little hook. Can't find it. Never mind. There we go. That's that one. And I've cut two lengths of ribbon, 2 lengths of 13 inches, which I am going to pop on there like so. And then this one I'm going to pop. Oh, it would help if I take the backing off, wouldn't it? That's that one. I'm going to pop that one on there like so. Oh, missed the tape. Would help if you actually get it on the tape. There we go. Okay, that's my tape down. And then to give the tape a little bit more stability, I am going to put a little bit of tape just across. I think I'll go across there with it, just to give that a little bit more stability, just to hold it in place and give it a good burnish down. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. You won't actually see it because obviously this is going to be covered up with the covers that we decide to use, so you won't actually see that. And the same one there. Okay, the designs that I've decided to use on the backings is a print that comes out like this, and all I've done is I've cut it in half, and I'm going to use one half on that section and one half on that section. And I've chosen this because I particularly like these borders. I think it gives a nice finish, so that's what I've decided to do. But before I stick it down, I am just going to ink around the edges just with a little bit of archival hickory smoke, because obviously the main cover is black. I just want to give just a little bit of an edge, but what it also does is if you've got any untidy little bits where sometimes the trimmer can just catch the paper slightly, it just helps to hide a multiple of sins, which can be really useful at times. So I'm just going to go around and just very quickly just put, like I say, just a tiny edge on, just to marry it into the background, and just to cover up any little imperfection. There we go. How fab does that look? That looks nice. Happy with that. Go. Okay, so what we have now got goes like so, and that goes like so, and then the ribbon will tie up there. Okay, so that's the outside pretty much complete. I will be doing some more embellishing on it, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to wait for those to dry, and now we're going to go in and we're going to start on the interior. So the height of this particular pocket, and I'll show you where it goes in just a second, will be 7.5 inches, and the width is 10.5 inches. So from there to there is 7.5, and then from there to there is 10.5. And then I've scored on the short side at 1/2 inch and then 1 inch, and then I've scored on the long side 3/4 inch and 3 3/4 inch. So that's the sides and the middle section. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut out 2 sections. So I'm going to go up to the second score line here and cut that piece out because we don't actually need that. And then I'm going to do the same on this side, so up to the second score line and cut that piece out. And then we don't actually need those bits, so, and I'm just going to fold along the score lines. Where I've done this writing, you won't see that because that will be inside the pocket. I'm just folding these up like so, and then fold that one over and fold this one over. Could have done the score lines a little bit deeper, but I didn't want to go overboard and end up tearing it again. There we go, that's got it. Okay, I'm just, where's my bone folder? There it is. Just going to just gently press that down again. I say gently because I don't want to tear it again. These are quite robust once you get all the panels and things on, but until you do, then that will come up like that, and then that one will come up like that, and then the journal bit is going to sit in there. Okay, so for the pocket, I'm going to add this before I start sticking it together because it will just make it a little bit easier. So this is the panel that I'm going with. And that looks pretty good. There we go. Right then, and now I'm going to glue my pocket together. I'm going to glue on here, on there, and then I'm going to do the same on this side. Little bit of glue, bitty do, glue, oops, a daisy. That's that one, just move my scissors out of the way. And now what I want to do is just come up and just make sure that those edges marry up nicely. That's that one, I think, on there. And then this one, marry up nicely on, there we go. Just need my little ruler. Just gonna pop my ruler down there just to give me some basis to press against. That's looking good. Okay, and I'm just gonna use my metal ruler just to give me a little bit of leverage on those side panels, and that is my pocket. That'll do nicely. Okie dokie. Now we are going to put this in here. So the pocket wants to butt up to this crease, but obviously not go all the way over. Now I've made the pocket the height of the folio, okay, and then the journaly bit is going to be slotting in there. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to give this a right good gluing over, because I'm going to now position the pocket. So we want a goodly amount of glue because we don't want it peeling away. Just butt up nicely now on that edge. Okay, so I'm not too worried about the excess glue at this stage, because we are going to be covering that over. What is important is that we get this positioning right. And I am really sorry if my head's in the way, but yeah, this bit's quite important because we need to position this one really well, and I just want to make sure that this pocket sticks down well, because the last thing we want is it ending up either falling off. Oh, that's lovely. Oops, don't squash your pocket, guys. Try not to squash your pocket. Okay, and then just give it a really, really good firm push. I find these metal rulers really good for this because you can get some really good leverage on it and you don't have to worry about them breaking. Get some really good leverage on that, like so. I think we're about there with that. And now, as you can see, it's all coming together rather swimmingly, which is lovely. So that's that pocket now in place. Okay, what I want to do now is I want to do a closure for it, which is going to be going across there, but I want it to be big enough to be able to pop that on there. Okay, so I took the opportunity just to get a little bit more done while I was off camera. So I finished the little clip that now connects with a little magnet, and I've just put a couple of strips down the spines there just to tidy that up a little bit. And I'm just going to put these panels on now. I'm going to put one here, and one here. Just slightly. There we go. I think that works well. Just going to give that a little bit of a wipe. Give that a little bit of a wipe. And now what I think I'll do, I am going to put this pocket on now. I'm also going to put a piece here, slot that in. Oh, come on, in you go. There we go. Oh, glue everywhere. Lovely. And just so you can see what I'm doing, just going to pull that up just to the edge there. Where's my tissue gone? There she be. And how we done there? That looks pretty well lined up. Just give that a rub down. Love the colours on this. I just think the whole thing is just stunning. Really lovely. There we go. That's that down. That feels like that's down nicely, and then that comes. Oh yeah, I like that. I wasn't sure about putting that with that, but actually I think that was a good call. Happy with that. Now I'm going to do the pocket that's going to go on there. I have already cut it out. Okay. So here's the pocket, and I'm hoping if I've cut it right, yeah, it should fit. So, oops, sorry. Sounded like a guitar. All right, now I've cut this. So the height is 4 and 5/8, and the width is 7 and 5/16, and I've scored it at 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. So I'm going to just fold this across. My hands, my fingers are sticky. Have I got my bone folder to hand? Yes, I have. Marvellous. Okay, I'm just going to fold the score lines. Now this pocket doesn't have to be as deep as the journal one. The journal one obviously needed to be a bit deeper to allow for a bit of a fatter journal. But this one is for a little envelope or writing paper folder, so it doesn't need to be quite as thick or quite as deep. What I'm trying to say is the pocket doesn't need to be quite as deep. There we go, that's that one. And then just get these score lines. It's a fiddly old job, isn't it? There we go. Lovely. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim this up because we don't need this section. Don't need that section, and we don't need this section, so I'm literally just cutting up to the second score and up to the second score there. And then this one I'm just going to mitre across there and mitre across there, and then the pocket is going to go there. I should be putting a design on that pocket there. Nice. Okay, so let's glue this one up. Right then, here we go. And now just gonna line that up like so. That's lovely. Just give that a wipe. Okay. one. Glue that one. And glue that one. Lovely. And now, let's see if we can get it down. Oh dear, I need too many hands. Can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so pull that in there. And that just to the edge there. I think we're about there. Lovely. And now I'm going to bring in my ruler, as I showed you before. Just going to make sure that that's well placed down, like so. There we go. Lovely. And that's that one done. Okay. Right, so far that is the carcass of what we're playing with. So it literally ties up here. You open it up. You've got a little pocket there. You've got your vellum pocket here. You open it up here, and then you've got a little clasp there that's going to hold your journal part, and then the next bit will be this section here, which I'll take you through on the next video. So if you want to see what's going to be next, join me on my next video. So subscribe and hit the bell so that you'll get a notification of when the next video comes out. And yeah, I'll look forward to seeing you all again soon. So thank you so much for your time today, guys.